Good evening, everybody, and this is the midweek report here for August 11th, 2021. Of course, I'm your host, James Bell, leader of the Boxing Source, and we are here live on YouTube. And wanted to get into a whole bunch of stuff that's going on here in the boxing world, man. I mean, here we are, man. It's been a couple days of news that has really rocked the boxing world. Of course, he had stuff that's been going on over the past couple of weeks, which fights have been, kind of either postponed or affected. And now, coming off the news of what was released, yesterday, in that, Errol Spence Jr. had been, checked, for the physical, and in the physical, it came back that his, his retina was ruptured. And so because of that, the, physicians there wouldn't necessarily clear him to fight. He tried to get, somebody else or, other physicians to check it as well to see if he could be cleared to fight Manny Pacquiao on August 21st. But that is not the case. So now you have Errol Spence Jr. now out of this fight against Manny Pacquiao, and that would have been for the WBC and IBF titles. Plus, it would have been for the Ring Magazine title. Don't forget that. It would have been for the Ring Magazine title at 147 pounds. So now we have Manny Pacquiao against Yordenis Ugas, and that will be for the WBA super title at 147 pounds. Now, one thing that hadn't been, publicized as much because, of course, it wasn't as big as this particular story with Errol Spence Jr., is that Yordenis Ugas, his scheduled opponent, Fabian Maidana, had also been scrapped from that fight card. So he had an injury above his eye, and he was going to be removed from his fight against Yordenis Ugas, and they would have had to have found a replacement opponent for Yordenis Ugas before we had the news of, Errol Spence Jr. getting the results of his, pre-fight physical. And so now you're going to have Manny Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas as the main event there for that fight card over in Las Vegas, August 21st. It's still, rocking the sporting world. We've had multiple fights that have been affected. Of course, about the whole thing with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. That was supposed to be for July 24th. Here we are in August, and you have Errol Spence not in the fight against Manny Pacquiao. And you also know about the whole thing with Canelo and Plant kind of falling apart. And so that date, September 18th, is pretty much out of the card. So that's three big events in 3 consecutive months that have been affected due to various reasons. But, this thing here with Errol Spence Jr., this is a definite blow to the sport of boxing, definite blow with a guy that, is considered, one of the top fighters, not just in the welterweight division, but, in all of boxing. And, of course, he had his car accident that was in 2019. He had recovered from that, was able to get back and fight Danny Garcia over at the AT&T Stadium there to defend the titles, the WBC and IBF titles. And he was setting himself up to fight Manny Pacquiao while, was going to be him versus Yordenis Ugas, but then Manny Pacquiao stepped in and said that he would go ahead and face Errol Spence. And so that was going to be the fight. That was going to be one of the, bigger fights of the year, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. But, now here we are about, less than 2 weeks away, pretty much 10 days away. And, we had like Errol Spence, taken out of the fight against Manny Pacquiao. And so you had Manny Pacquiao going up against Yordenis Ugas That will be August 21st. And they did, have a press conference earlier today. Manny Pacquiao and Jose Ugas, both did, say their well wishes to Errol Spence as he, goes through the recovery phase. He did, have eye surgery or for eye surgery today. So he's gonna, go through that recovery phase. And, of course, we know about a few fighters that have had, either ruptured eye sockets or, damage to their eyes and how that has affected them over the course of their professional careers. In particular, one guy that was an opponent of Errol Spence Jr. and Kell Brook, who had the fight with Gennady Golovkin beforehand, and then went up against Errol Spence and, had, pretty much both of his eyes damaged there. And, still had about a few more fights until, recently last year against Terrence Crawford. So that, definitely is something that is a huge concern for, a lot of fans of the sport of boxing, a lot of fans of Errol Spence Jr. And that, we have, it's going to be something because he's going to be, out for at least 6 to 9 months. At least that's what I'm going to put it at, 6 to 9 months. And after that, it's going to be like, what's going to be his next fight after that? How are, people going to, gauge his condition, after that? This is pretty much like the same as he was after his car accident. Like, people really didn't think that he was going to be able to come back after his car accident. And you seen what he was tweeting immediately after, the diagnosis there. He said that he's come back from worse. So, I mean, we're going to see here how this is going to, turn out with all of that. Shout out to Lefty here joining in through the chat. I'm going to add in one of our, key contributors here. Just jumping in, Brother Terrell from Tampa. What's going on?
Hey, all those bets you're going to, that's what's going on, man. That's what's going on. You tell me about that. Forget boxing. Let's talk about the females. but no, seriously, though, it's this. I mean, this recent development, it just brings so many questions and dilemmas, conundrums, or whatever word you want to throw at it, right? Even with, like you were just talking about with the injury with Spence, this is not a typical injury. And you look back in history when Sugar Ray Leonard had the similar injury right there, and he was never really the same after that point. And it's kind of, look at Spence, when you consider the car accident, and now you fast forward to this, it's like funny, this guy has gone from being the cream brulee of 147 to all of a sudden now he's a beat-up fighter. And that's largely from stuff in the ring and outside of the ring, And, I mean, for one, I hope he can return to full form, because we also want to see the Crawford Spence fight. We all hope for that. But right now, we just got to push that to the back burner at this point now. But the main thing to consider is help going forward. And mainly, I want you to talk on his belts. What's going to happen with those belts? How long will we be able to hold on to those belts? He has mandatories. Will they make him champion recess, things like that? And just all of a sudden, in that regard, even if he's stripped, that's going to create other opportunities for people like Thurman and Porter, whoever is at the top of 147, in case he does get stripped. So what happens with those belts? How long will they respect that? I mean, look at Pacquiao.
Yep.
He had the WBA belt from that point, had a long period of inactivity, and we know about him. He got stripped, or made the champion recess. They gave the Ugas thing from that point, and then when he wanted to come back and get the belt, that didn't happen. So it's kind of like Spence in that same boat, looking at and trying to hold on to his belts. Would that really happen for him?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the thing with David Benavidez, right? And he was able to, I think, got like a little bit of feedback there, but he was able to, get the thing for the regular title, and then they had the thing with the WBA making their ruling with Manny Pacquiao. They basically made it at that particular time because he was going to be active for more than 12 or inactive for 12 to 18 months. So they had made him the champion in recess. Now, with this right here with Errol Spence, he's definitely going to be out, for a full year since his last defense of the WBC and IBF titles. We know about, how the IBF kind of like acts in a sense, as far as like how they handle their mandatory defenses and things like that. Maybe they'll make an exception in this particular case. Or will they, kind of like make, Spence Jr. a champion in recess or just create like an interim championship for the IBF so that, once he does become active once again, then they'll just say that he'll have to face a interim IBF champion. But it does kind of like open the door if they do, have those titles vacated, for the likes of a Porter or a Thurman. I mean, they had it with Thurman. Thurman had been injured at one point. Listen, I'm checking out my boy Myron with the comments, man. Shout out to Boxologist United Peace and Pugilism. He said he's totally talking points. But going back to the thing with Keith Thurman, remember when Keith Thurman was a unified champion? He was, WBA and WBC champion, and then he was, inactive for, over 12 months, and then they had, eventually had the WBC title be vacated. He was still put as the status of WBA champion when he came back and had, one fight before his fight against Manny Pacquiao. But I think they might, end up doing the same thing here with the WBC. But we'll see what happens with the WB or the IBF when it comes to Errol Spence Jr. On the flip side, it's kind of interesting, and they kind of like said it in the press conference that, I think it was like Dan Rayfield kind of like asked Manny Pacquiao, like, how is it, for Manny Pacquiao coming into this fight against Dennis Ugas as the challenger when he was basically the champion and never lost the belt in the ring. And, Manny Pacquiao was like, yeah, I still just come in to fight. Ugas good opponent, so don't matter if I champion, challenger, or whatever. He's just coming in to fight, and it'll be a good fight. But it's going to be, a definite, it's going to be a definite throw off there for, Manny Pacquiao, as he was preparing for his fight against Errol Spence Jr. That was his whole camp, was to prepare for Errol Spence. And, now it's going to be, changed up to fight someone in Dennis Ugas who was, who's fighting Orthodox. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing about it.
Yeah, that's a great point to make, because when you look at the styles of Ugas versus Spence, totally different. Where Spence, we already know, is a pressure fighter, come forward and pretty much all offense. His defense is his offense pretty much, whereas Ugas, he's definitely more of a counter puncher, definitely more keen to that Cuban boxing style. But Ugas does have good size at 147, does have good power, and he's definitely a slick boxer. So, that's, even in that regard, he's definitely nothing that Pacquiao has not seen. I mean, with the type of opponents Pacquiao has seen within his career, I don't think it's going to present any unique challenges to him. It's just going to be a matter of, like you said, just having to retool and replan at this late stage with the fight pretty much 2 weeks from now. So that's difficult. But as you agree, Jay, that Pacquiao has the best trainer in his corner.
Listen, okay. Listen, you're gonna go in there and fight, okay? And all that. Yo, shout out to my guy, man, Freddie Roach, man. I'm like, but I mean, you seen what Freddie Roach has been able to do with fighters over the past, I would say 6 to 7 months. I mean, you see what happened with our guy there, Gabe Rosado, You know, he almost got that win over Daniel Jacobs, and then he knocked out Beck the Bully this year. So he's definitely been having a good number of fighters prepare for their fights over the past few months, and so I think that he'll do what's needed in order for Pacquiao to adjust to an orthodox fighter like your Dennis Ugas. But the thing about it is that it like Ugas has been and I kind of like had this thing posted on the Boxing Source website that Ugas said that he's quote unquote the most avoided fighter in the welterweight division, and that other guys have been reluctant to fight him, and now he's pretty much 10 days away from the biggest fight of his career by far. This is one that he wanted to put himself in the position that he wanted to have those fights against an Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao or somebody like a Terrence Crawford. But it just didn't go through for him. But now he has that particular shot.
It's kind of curious that you made the statement that Ugas said he's the most avoided fighter at 147. And as you were saying that, one name came to mind for a fighter at 154, also of Cuban descent, Lara.
Yep.
Lara made that statement, and to a degree, he was avoided because of his style, things like that, and just the way he proceeded within the fight. And he didn't. And as we already know, Lara fought Canelo and a couple other people and didn't get that decision, even though he likely should have got the decision win against Canelo Alvarez. But when you look at the style of Lara and Ugas, once again, they come from the same school. They're Cuban. They definitely have the same kind of defensive style, awkward in a sense, not really coming forward and just relying on a points decision in order to win a fight instead of going for KOs and stuff like that. Because even with Ugas, I haven't looked at his record lately. I forgot how many KOs he's had, and particularly did those KOs come early in his career, and on top of that, how many of those KOs came against top-level opposition? And when was the last time he actually had a KO against top-level opposition? So that certainly matters. Even with Manny being 42 years of age at this point, they ain't nothing but a number. Because Manny's still in shape. He's still in prime. He's never been roughed up. I mean, he's been in wars. We know that. But even with this long layoff that he's recently had, his body has had time to fully recover, things like that. So I'm not even worried about his age being a factor at all. I mean, he's still at his speed. He's left-handed, so I'm not worried about this at all. And kind of you kind of summarize it too. Ugas is now the challenger. When's the last time you said that about someone that's holding the belt? It's been a while since you actually considered that. Ugas is definitely now the challenger in this fight, not just from the money side, but just the style side and record side too. He's definitely the challenger. So if we don't come in there too confident, if he does, it's going to be pap, 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 pap. Wow, what happened? That's what's going to happen. So hope he has time to prepare.
True. Now, bringing in another guest on here. Big ups to this man. Of course, he's on there on YouTube. Of course,
you want to laugh? I can see you smiling through the daggone StreamYard. What's up, man? I can see you grinning, smiling through the. You know I'm coming to bring it, get it messy. You know I'm coming to get it messy. What's going on, Boxer Source?
Oh man, I'm all good, man. I'm all good, brother, man.
What's up, Terrell?
That's the Atlas.
That's me. I'm the fucking Kenny Atlas of the YouTube. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, man. So, hey,
that's
what do you think? You said,
pick right now.
Hold on, what you saying?
Me. What's up, Terrell? How you doing, Mr. Terrell? You heard me on Main Man's on Tuesday, huh? Well, no, Monday.
Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? You all right?
I'm great, brother. You heard me on Main Man on Tuesday, huh?
Yeah, I heard you. I got you. Heard you. I had you. Yeah, definitely, man.
I knew it. I was dropping them bombs. Everybody was like, yo, I didn't even look at it like that. Like, yeah, bro. But a piece of you, Mr. Terrell, Boxing Source in the building. Hey, bro, this is about to be, I've been thinking, listen, the regenerated my fuel of, being the, I don't know what's the best word to say it. Just a protagonist of, what if, what I mean, what is going on, Sean? Is this should I say, is this the card that broke boxing's back? You know what I'm saying? Is this the failed card that broke boxing back? Because Spence Pack we could expect to have done pretty well, but I don't know about Ugas and Pack. It's still going to do decent because Pack got a good following, but we're gonna if it doesn't turn out to be, if it turns out to be a dud or not sell, not even partially what they hope, just due to Pacquiao's presence, will it be like, okay, we got to really put on the headbanger fights to recoup money because we're losing now,
I feel
really,
you.
really bad.
Yeah,
I think this is all. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's the key. That's the key thing right there. Because I mean, when I opened, I said all of these cards have been either affected or postponed or canceled, and those are 3 cards that were on Fox pay-per-view, and that's the one. That's like basically what they really invested most of their time and their money on was the pay-per-view side of things. Because with the Fox, just with the Fox cards, like, I mean, if you think about it, you really haven't seen, notable fighters on Fox. So they put everything on pay-per-view. They put that Ruiz versus Areola on pay-per-view. They wanted Fury Wilder on pay-per-view. They wanted, Pacquiao Spence. They wanted Canelo Plant. So now all you've had so far is Ruiz versus Areola. And now you're going to have Pacquiao versus Ugas, which you're not going to get the numbers that you wanted to get out of a Pacquiao Spence. So now what are they going to do with that? And as of right now, they were talking about maybe having one more fight as part of the card. But even with, having Pacquiao Spence, like you had Ugas versus Fabian Maidana, Mark Magsayo versus Julio Ceja, and Victor Ortiz versus Robert Guerrero as part of a pay-per-view card. People weren't feeling that, So now it's like, okay, now we don't have Pacquiao Spence. Am I really interested in having or buying this as a pay-per-view? Especially when Pacquiao's going to get that same guarantee, as far as I know.
And Jay, who's on the undercard for this fight anyway?
On what you asking, Terrell?
Who's on the undercard for Pacquiao Ugas?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was going to be Victor Ortiz versus Robert Guerrero in a loser-leaves time. I mean, no, it's just going to be a regular fight there at welterweight. And Mark Magsayo versus Julio Ceja in the featherweight division.
You mean Robert the Ghost Guerrero?
Yes, Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
That's pathetic. That's pathetic. Guerrero has made
the thing is, it's 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Now get bumped up from the.
Oh man, yeah, it was seeing like the connection was not was a little bit off there for my guy Boxing Logic United. Hopefully he could get back on. But yeah, I mean that was going to be the fight card there, Terrell. It was going to be Pacquiao Spence in the main event. It was going to be Yordenis Ugas versus Fabian Maidana, then Mark Magsayo, there against Julio Ceja, and Robert Guerrero against, Victor Ortiz. And that was basically how it was. You back on there by Logics? And seeing how that connection is.
Yeah, but like I said, that card is pathetic because, like I said, Guerrero has been relevant in years, and even at this point, you can't call him a gatekeeper. You can't call him that. And you know what? If somehow he beats Ortiz, I'm just gonna laugh. I would just laugh. I would laugh my ass off at that. But I mean, and also they said they're not going to change the price of the pay-per-view either. So I think it's what, $74.99, and right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, bottom line, it's a lessened product that you're giving to your consumers, and at that point, so the paper. I'm just taking a guess. Spence Pacquiao, that's probably will do. I'm guessing at least 600,000 pay-per-view buys. Now you pretty much want to almost cut that in half. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the total amount of buys is going to be around 300,000. It's going to be around 300,000, but you're going to have that, and then also the thing that's going to affect it is the ticket sales too. You know, if they didn't necessarily have everything sold out by this time, now it's going to be very difficult for them to, sell the remaining open tickets that they had or available tickets that they had. So that gate, return is not going to be, that high either for this. So that was the thing about it. It was like you had that. They were already competing against another, sporting event that same day. So I was like, now with this, happening with Errol Spence, it's going to be really interesting how this is going to play out, from a business perspective and from a fight itself, because like this is Ugas' biggest fight. This is the one where he can step up and say, you know what, I could overwhelm Manny Pacquiao and beat Manny Pacquiao, and folks will say like, I'm the guy that beat the man, and that I'm now with having a win over Manny Pacquiao, I'm the legitimate WBA welterweight champion. So these other fighters will have to see me somehow or another. And the thing about it is that will they do that if, he gets a win or he gets, a KO win, and it could possibly be Pacquiao's, last fight, because like I really don't see Manny Pacquiao going past this year to have another fight. I just don't see it.
I don't know about that. I mean, kind of like what said. For one thing, that I want to consider. How much is Pacquiao's purse for this fight? Has that been announced yet? It
was going to be around at least 15 million base, and then you're gonna see what the the back end for pay-per-view was going to be, and it was gonna be around like what, 20, probably around like 20 million or something like that, maybe. So
yeah,
so
like
it'll definitely be affected through that. But when the add in someone else here, host of Chicken Talk, coming in here, man, Lazy Lefty, man. They're just still on the fallout from this thing with Errol Spence, and I haven't even really talked much about the whole thing from a fan's perspective about it. But I left you on. I'm gonna see if I can get my guy Boxing Logics back on here, see if he got everything going too. So from a fan's perspective, what I've been seeing has just been really bad, because it's like they say, oh, Spence is having this because he's ducking the fight, but y'all didn't say anything about what happened with Fabian Maidana, because that happened before the whole thing with Errol Spence, the news with Errol Spence came out. So I'm like, well, that's the thing. Like, how are you going to have something of a fighter like Errol Spence Jr., who's preparing against a guy that was already inactive for about 2 years anyway? So you're saying like he's ducking someone that's been inactive for 2 years? Like, nobody really buys that. But at the same time, you've got, Ugas that's about to see if he could take advantage of an opportunity of a lifetime for him. Because, after the news of Fabian Maidana, being out, due to injury, who knows if they would have had a replacement opponent for him. So he would have gone from scrambling to find another opponent for 10 days to being involved in the biggest fight of his career. So, I mean, sometimes, a bad break for someone is a good break for somebody else. And that's what, ends up being the case here for your Dennis Ugas. Says, he was originally supposed to fight Errol Spence. And then Manny Pacquiao, said that he'll come back and face Errol Spence. And that kind of like had Ugas, holding the bag, basically. But now it's, he's back in the picture. He's back in the spotlight going against Manny Pacquiao there.
All I got to say is Jake Paul saves boxing once again. Once again, he has to save boxing. Like he saved it last year during the pandemic when nobody wasn't fighting but him. Now the biggest fight of the summer is canceled, and his fight is the biggest fight of the summer. Jake Paul saves boxing again.
Kind of. Nobody's really talking about Jake Paul, though. He's not as, believe it or not, he needs to do the extra antics now, because truly overall he's not as big as his brother.
I mean, he's not. I mean, his fight is 2 weeks after Spence. So, the fight in front is going to get the most coverage, and then they start after that. Like we could say nobody's really talking about Usyk Joshua because that's like months away,
Yeah, it's like over almost 2 months away.
Well, a month and a half away. Yeah, the fight in front always gonna get the most coverage. Then you pick up the promotion after that. It starts boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, but I mean,
or
now it's
it could be the other way around because the fight, or it could be, and not honestly, often cases could be the other way around because if the first fight is a really, really good fight, it just gets people's taste up and ready for another good fight. That's 2 weeks alone. Because as people start talking about the first fight, the second fight, whatever's the highest, expected fight, the highest expectations is going to get a more of a snowball effect off of the first fight. So that works both ways. It's a snowball effect. It depends on who's fighting, of course. So if the first fight was like really good, and people are like, oh, I hope the such and such fight in 2 weeks is going to be just as good as this. It's a snowball effect of the energy that passes to whoever's fighting this 2 weeks back.
So with a fight like, and another thing is two different audiences too.
This is to me an exhibition. I mean, this is an exhibition. It's not a real fight.
I mean,
yeah,
it's commissioned by the Ohio State Commission, and I know we don't commission bullshit here.
Okay,
Athletic Commission.
Okay, yeah. Come on, man. Come on, dude. Yeah, they commission anything right now, perhaps. You know what I mean? If the money's with it, we're gonna do. I tell
you like this. I live in Ohio, and I go to a lot of the local fights here.
Yeah.
I live in Cincinnati, and Jake Paul versus Woodley is no more not a real fight than a lot of the shit that I see here. So
that's because in Cincinnati,
the only reason it's so much attention on it because that's why people try to say it's not a real fight. But if you look at some of these undercards and these club shows, it's a lot worse shit on there.
Yeah, but it's not a real fight. Ohio's my second home. I lived in Ohio for 8 years. And nobody paying attention to that fight. I mean, I don't know about Cincinnati, but I know Ohio is one of the early first places where UFC could do a match at. You know what I'm saying? And so early on, I'm talking about back in the day when Zuffa Entertainment ran it, when you had UFC 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that was still the Ken Shamrock and Gracie's and all those guys were still doing that stuff. But Ohio's, because you got old boy the wrestler. Ohio's a big wrestling state, huge wrestling state. So Ohio, Pennsylvania is popular because you got the big boy who came up from North Ohio. I forgot if he was from Cleveland. Old boy who was taking the steroids, used to headbutt. What's his name? I knew him off rip, but he used to fight in all the mixed fighting joints, whatever. So Ohio's a big
combat sport state.
Matt Coleman. 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 But Ohio's a big, mixed martial arts combat, state. Always has been. And so that would bring some serious attention because of old boy Woodley. But I don't think, but and you know what? And keep in mind the Pauls are from Ohio.
Yes, they right outside of Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. So Come on. So that's why, of course, you promote home hard first. You know what I'm saying? So, you look at the variables and all of that, then that's why you're getting a lot of it in Ohio. They are from Ohio.
Yeah, I'm just making a point that it's not any more of not a real fight than a lot of other stuff that you see on the daily.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a fight, but it's not like a boxing match. I think that's the only thing.
It's a boxing match. It's a legit boxing match. I look at it as a legit boxing match, as a prospect fighting a legit boxing match.
A legit boxing match.
When I look at somebody with 4 fights, when I look at somebody going
Tyrone Woodley never fought a boxing match in his life.
Okay. The boy that just
Tyrone Woodley never fought a boxing match in his life.
He's a combat sports. He's a combat sports.
Only on a second.
You look at somebody like David Benavidez.
It's an exhibition.
Look at somebody like David Benavidez. He's a real boxer. But David Benavidez is a real boxer, in your opinion, correct?
No, it's not a real boxing match. I'm not going to denigrate boxing.
David Benavidez is a real boxer, in your opinion, correct?
What?
David Benavidez is a real boxer.
So you saying? Are you trying to say Tyrone Woodley and Jake Paul's skills?
I'm saying go look at who David Benavidez fought his first 4 fights, and you'll see Jake Paul's looks better than his. He's fought guys that never fought.
No, it's not. He's fighting Tyrone Woodley. He's fighting somebody who never fought a boxing match.
First 4 fights. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. What I'm saying, this is YouTuber
against that. You talking against the YouTuber with the big ass nose?
4 fights. You don't expect them to jump to the championship level. It's called building a fight. You talking about
a YouTuber with the biggest nose from fucking Europe?
This is what you expect with a guy with 4 fights. You're not. This is how you move guys that just start out boxing. I mean, every single boxer got a guy on his record.
No, you don't, bro. You don't have fight YouTubers.
I just gave you a perfect
example. Show me a professional fighter in this world who started off his career fighting.
I'm telling you, you're not listening. David Benavidez. He's fought guys that's been 0-0 and never fought again. Listen. David Benavidez, he has fought guys that fought him, started off 0-0 and has never fought again in his first 3 fights. Exactly what Jake Paul is doing.
He's fighting YouTube personalities.
Oh, okay. Who was the guy that David Benavidez fought? His first 3 fights. Guys that never fought again. 0-0 and never fought again.
That's every fight.
We gotta go on the record. We gotta go on.
But that's Sugar Ray Leonard. You can say that about Sugar. Who was the first people Muhammad Ali fought? You gonna say
I have no idea, but I'm telling you, this is nobody's boxing. Nobody has no exact. Everybody fights nobodies when they first start out.
Oh yeah, we ain't fighting YouTubers.
But the thing about it is
that Tyree shot Pyramid.
But the thing about it is with these Paul brothers, with these Paul brothers, they're at least fighting. What they're doing is they're fighting somebody with some type of fighting background. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that those guys are boxers, but they've been in some type of mixed martial arts or combat sports.
It's a fight. Like Woodley. It's a fight. It's a fight. It's not no real boxing match. No.
Like Woodley.
It's not a real boxing match.
Like the last guy he fought?
It's an exhibition.
No, it's a real boxing match.
It's an exhibition.
So they're actually sanctioning this as an actual boxing match. Like I think is it because both of them actually do have sanctioned boxing matches that are counted as fights. Like Jake Paul, has 3 bouts that have been considered as actual fights that have been licensed. So it does count. So he's actually 3-0, and it's not exhibition. They're actually sanctioned.
Cash rules everything around me.
You can
stretch the truth. We can try to stretch the truth to make the abnormal feel normal all he wants. But I was just saying straight on the script.
Their record is full of 0-0 guys. They first 4 fights 0-0, 1-0, 0-6, 0-7. Anybody that's going into their 4th fight, their first couple fights are against guys of the same caliber that Jake Paul has been fighting. Nobody jumps out the gate except Lomachenko. straight into championship fights. This is what you see when you building up a fighter. I don't understand why everybody is so tight about Jake Paul fighting.
Nobody's tight. We just speaking the truth. You're the one who's tight.
No, the truth is what I just told you. That this is a level competition. Yes, look,
no, that's what you're pushing.
Example.
That's what you're pushing, and that's your opinion.
It's not what I'm pushing. It's what I know. No,
it's not what you know.
No, bro. Name me another fighter within his first 4 fights who's already at the championship level, or fighting guys 15-0, or real boxers, as you like to say. You won't find one except Lomachenko, who had a long amateur background, and
that means you don't follow boxing.
WSB experience. You said I don't follow boxing.
No, stop it.
Okay, not only do I follow, okay, I'll do. Okay.
So that's man. I'll just move on from that and get back into this thing here with
let's go back to Ugas
with the Pacquiao and Ugas, right? So Ugas was preparing for basically a fight against Fabian Maidana, and now he turns around and he's got to prepare for Manny Pacquiao, the most experienced fighter that's pretty much out there in the game. And so I don't know about how he's gonna, adjust to Manny Pacquiao, even though he's kind of like considered as a fighter that's, avoided in the welterweight division and all of that. But you're going against somebody that has, wins over the likes of Keith Thurman and Timothy Bradley and, Juan Manuel Marquez and, all of those greats there, the Miguel Cottos and Ricky Hattons and all of that, up to this particular point, Adrian Broner, so I know this is a big opportunity for Yordenis Ugas, but there's also a certain amount of pressure that's going to be put on him right now. Because I mean, it's like 10 days, you're 10 days away, and you don't have like a full camp to prepare for the biggest fight of your career.
Hold up. Boxing Source. Wasn't he came straight out of full camp preparing for Maidana?
Well, he did have a full camp preparing for Maidana.
Yeah. They both were ready to fight. They both came out of full training camp.
Yeah, full training camp.
They just didn't have the opportunity to prepare for each other.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. So
that's the only thing.
If
I'm not mistaken, ain't Yordenis, I don't mean to cut you off, brother. Ain't Yordenis, southpaw too?
No, he's Orthodox. He's mainly Orthodox.
He's Orthodox. Okay. I think, man, listen. I think this might have been, I don't know. I don't want to, hard to say this, but I do know your boy Spence has better feet than Ugas. And if people are saying Spence feet is kind of little, not as fast, Ugas feet is worse. Ugas do not have the best feet. So it could be one advantage up for Pacquiao for his foot speed that's probably heightened within this, sudden match changeup due to the circumstances. Because Pacquiao's feet was faster than Spence. Even at 40 years. So it's a little bit increased maybe a little bit versus Ugas. So who do you got? Who do you guys got in this fight?
Yeah, Lefty, you want to jump on? I don't know if Lefty's a little bit busy because sometimes this round is cooking time too. So he might come in a little bit later. But Terrell, you still with us here? You got any thoughts on this fight now since it's going to be Pacquiao versus Ugas?
Well, just kind of real quick, kind of one thing you kind of alluded to. Like, let's say for example that Ugas does win. It's kind of funny when you consider that for someone that was kind of, even though he's at the top of 147, but you when you consider Ugas his profile, he's sitting outside of getting the top fights. That's where he's always been. If he would have gotten the decision win against Porter a couple years ago, he would be in a better position. He didn't. But even though, despite that, he won a little small winning streak, and he's still the outlier at 147. But now he's elevated into this fight all of a sudden, unexpectedly. If he does beat Pacquiao, you can really not argue against the fact that he would be the man to beat at 147. Even though Crawford's out there, his situation is kind of unresolved at this point. Shay, give me a second. We'll get right back to you guys. Right back.
All right, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like said it, earlier, man. If Ugas gets this win, he'll kind of like have that, feather in his cap that he was able to defeat Manny Pacquiao, and then depending on how he wins, that would be even more significant for him. But that situation that he had with Sean Porter, he got the bad break as far as the decision goes, and I mean, we've seen what happened with Sean Porter. Pretty much after that fight, he ended up in a unification fight against Errol Spence Jr. So
right.
that's pretty much like that first instance where you could have had Ugas fighting Errol Spence and you didn't necessarily get that shot. And then now earlier this year where he was kind of like penciled in to fight Errol Spence before Manny Pacquiao threw his name into the hat. So now he's going to, get himself in there in the ring against Manny Pacquiao. And yeah, if he gets this win, it's like, they can't really, deny him for those type of fights anymore. You know what I'm saying? He'll still be like that dangerous type of fighter, but it's going to be to the point where either they're going to have a unification bout against him or maybe move up and wait or something like that. So that's the thing there. Lefty, I didn't know if you were jumping back in or not.
No, I'm here. I was, I'll be doing stuff in the middle of my talking, but yeah, I'm here. I hear you.
Yeah. So what do you think about this? How this fight could turn out?
I don't know. I know they got Ugas at plus 225 last time I checked, so I'm definitely putting some money on him because I think the thing is Pacquiao been out for 2 years, a little bit.
Yeah.
2 years. We don't know what he looks like. Father Time is undefeated. Ugas is a much fresher fighter. He's not a hard hitter, and his chin is kind of suspect. So I don't know, but with them odds that they got going on Ugas, I gotta put something on him. Just for the fact that we haven't seen Manny in 2 years, so we really, if he come out looking like Bernard Hopkins did his last fight, man, come on, you never know.
Do you think that's really likely though? I don't think it's likely. Now I know it's been a good year or so since he fought Thurman, but I mean, of course, that's our most recent body work with Pacquiao that we can look back on. Like I said, even that he won that fight, we know that he wasn't roughed up. And even outside of boxing, Pacquiao doesn't stay in the gym. He actually plays basketball quite a bit. So once again, even though he's been in wars, I think that what we saw against him with Thurman, that's ultimately what we're going to see the version against Ugas. And that's definitely good enough to beat him and decisively in that regard with the style, things like that. With Ugas' tentative style, not just like I said, Ugas is pretty much like a Lara, right? Defensive style first.
I don't know.
Kind of in a sense scared to engage in that regard and doesn't command the fight. And what's funny, if Ugas has learned anything from his fight with Porter, you have to go get it definitively. And can he do that against Pacquiao? If he does that, that's going to lend the Pacquiao style. If he decides to come forward. So I'm definitely leaning towards Pacquiao in a decision win.
Okay.
Let me go ahead.
Ugas is nowhere near the fighter of Erislandy Lara. They're not similar in no way, shape, or form.
Style?
No style. No, their styles are nowhere near the same. Anybody who've watched Erislandy Lara, say a minimum of 3 fights, and then watch Ugas, they're nowhere near the same type of fighter. Ugas is more of a boxer. More of a puncher. He's a puncher / brawler. Erislandy Lara is more of a master boxer, though. Now, he's digressed his style down a little bit for fans' sake, because after he beat Canelo, in my opinion, okay, because that was a boxing lesson. A hit, not get hit. Then, okay, people will tell him. So now he's slowed down a little bit, of course. He's older. He's 36 years old. You know what I'm saying? So now he doesn't move as much. He's now more in your face. But his abilities is boxing abilities is like levels above Ugas. And only fight Erislandy Lara, only time he got stopped was, of course, versus
or not stopped, or at least lost, was when he went against Hurd. And Lara was winning that fight. It's just that Hurd was so big and strong, he was able to be like Frankenstein on his ass and just finally hunt him down after kept coming and wore Lara down. But Lara was winning that fight on the card. Now, Ugas is something totally different. And my man was right. Terrell said he's more iffy on his offense. He's absolutely correct. He is more iffy on his offense. He doesn't work a jab much. His speed is slower, tremendously slower than Lara's. Okay? And if you watch the fight between Ugas and Porter, he didn't know how to engage Porter because he expected Porter to be front foot dominant, come at you like he usually do. But Porter's father said, you know what? God gave me a message. He can't touch you. Just box him. Remember that? Remember Kenny Porter said that? And he was like, what is it? And Sean Porter's like, what is it? What did God tell you? He can't touch you. Just box him. And Porter was just boxing him. And Ugas didn't have the tools in the kit to really press Porter and take the fight. Now, going against somebody like Pacquiao, now the difference between what Thurman did, Thurman kept Pacquiao going backwards. And that's why Thurman had major success against Pacquiao. And if y'all guys may not know, but I know Boxing Source know, I nodded Thurman that fight. So, because it was a split decision. But of course, Pacquiao, in my opinion, got the Pacquiao vote. And it was a close fight, but I gave it to Thurman. But Ugas is not no Keith Thurman. Ugas is not Earl Spence Jr., where the dimensions in their fight game could be front foot dominant and pressure and the variety of punches that they have. Ugas is mainly a hooker. So Ugas is going to come in, he's going to try to get you tight, pin you up against the corner or ropes, and see if he can catch you with hooks. If you watch his fight, that's what he does. But in the center of the ring, Pacquiao is going to dominate him. And that's the issue because Pacquiao has a tremendous speed factor. If his speed hasn't diminished in 2 years, which it probably has, but even if it has diminished at 40, he still has a speed advantage versus Ugas. More than he did versus Earl Spence. So that's why I think this fight may become perhaps, in my opinion, maybe a little bit easier for Pacquiao. Now, again, they have to fight the fight. So, but that's just how I see it.
Gotcha. Now, Lefty in the building. What do you think about this matchup now?
I like I said, as far as betting goes, I still got to put something on Ugas. That's a little bit. The odds are too great, and I haven't seen Manny in a while. But I am rooting. I wouldn't be mad if Manny won because I still want to see the Spence fight. I would rather see.
It's 2-1 for Manny, though, right? It has closed. The odds has closed up a little bit since Ugas came in. It's now only 2-1 in Manny's favor.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm still. I still want to see that Spence fight. So I will be kind of hoping that Pacquiao wins this. Which with Ugas, I really do think he could easily beat Ugas because, like I said, Ugas' chin is kind of iffy. He even got shook up his last fight. Seemed like every fight he's getting kind of stanky leg for a minute or two. So.
Yeah, that one against Ramos, and Ramos was getting back at him at the tail end of the fight. I was like, yo, that kind of like was a little bit of a red flag because it was supposed to be like his, kind of like coming out show, so to speak, because of the whole situation with the WBA titles at the time. So they were like, okay, let's see if we could, feature your Dennis Ugas and see what he could do, against someone like Ramos. And, he still ended up, getting a couple of 7-5 cards in that fight. And that's why, people are like, are we sure that we want to have Ugas, go up against the likes of Errol Spence at this point? But now he's, put in this position to fight Manny Pacquiao. And I don't know if he's going to be a little bit more stationary, tries to come forward on his front foot and not be, very aggressive with the jab, then that'll, give Manny Pacquiao the time to get in and out of the pocket and throw, combinations before even Ugas gets started. And like Boxing Logic said, like it's almost like Ugas is going to wait for the hook, which you can't really do that against Manny Pacquiao, because once you get yourself started to throw a hook, he's already tagged you a couple times and been out of the pocket, and so you're going to have to reset and go back after him. So it's going to be something to see, like how he's going to get prepared for this particular matchup, man. I had something in reference to like who is Ugas' trainer. Like he's been coaching like Lara, of course, like he's from Cuba too, so he's been coaching like Lara and Guillermo Rigondeaux too. So it was like, so I think he's gonna like have that same type of strategy here to try to throw off Manny Pacquiao there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what, Boxing Source? Ugas can do what the guys you named did. The difference between the guys you named, we talking about Rigondeaux, you talking about Lara. These guys came from world championship national team stock. You feel me? Ugas ain't come from that. That's what Ugas is able to benefit off just being a Cuban. You feel me? In most terms in this situation. Now, he ain't on a level of like skill-wise of a Rigondeaux or a Lara. And that's the thing. But he is good. I mean, I ain't hating on him. He's good. But he ain't good like a Lara or Rigondeaux. And if you watch their careers and what they've been able to accomplish, how really good they freaking were. Like, those were the most duck dudes in boxing. You talking about Lara and Rigondeaux. I mean, of duck Cubans in boxing with the list of Cubans in history. You know what I mean? And then you talking about skills as of even if you put our old boy in there before Crawford got his hands on him, but he had to blow up in weight. Our man, those dudes are like Olympic champion world pedigree. You talking about Lara?
I did a quick search. I just did. Let me throw this in real quick because I was curious.
Hold up. What's the boy name? What's
You talking about Mikey Garcia?
No. I said Cuban.
Diaz?
Yeah, huh?
You mean Felix Diaz? Who you talking about with who's it, like Crawford?
No, the Cuban, 30 years old.
Gamboa.
Gamboa, before his first loss to Crawford, then he went downhill. But Gamboa, I mean, you talking about, that's again a gold medalist. Rigondeaux, gold medalist. We talk about Olympics. Lara, I don't know if he got a gold or what, but we talk about Olympic gold medalists. These motherfuckers on the best of the best of Cuba. Your Dennis Ugas wasn't that.
Well, the last time that Ugas has fought a southpaw was the fight before Sean Porter. So it's been a while since he fought one. Been since 2018.
Oh, the one where he was part of that undercard of Porter Garcia?
Yeah, that's the card it was on. Some South American dude. Argentina.
So that was so that's the thing with him, man. He fought Barrio Nuevo in that fight card, and I think that was the co-feature bout to Sean Porter versus Danny Garcia, and it was like 12 rounds, and of course, like people kind of like knew of Dennis Ugas then, but like like he had fought Barrio Nuevo, and that was like a 10-12 round fight, and that was coming off of Kaunaki versus Charles Martin, and that that was like a definite downer after the Kaunaki Martin fight, and people, I guess they weren't really too convinced of Dennis Ugas at that particular time, but then he had his fight against Sean Porter where he almost could have got the nod, but he just fell short. But yeah, that's the last time Ugas had faced a southpaw, and now he has to deal with the southpaw that has speed and power still at his age in Manny Pacquiao and
ridiculous footwork.
That's the thing. It's the footwork.
His footwork is ridiculous. So
So it's about him. Him getting in and out of the pocket. To me, is what's gonna kind of fluster Dennis Ugas in those early rounds of the fight. Now, if he's able to adjust well, then that could be all good. And then maybe he could get himself back in the fight, like how Thurman was able to get himself back in the fight. Shout out to MVO in the building. You know, MVO was coming off his win last night.
They said Thurman. Go ahead, my bad.
No, you saying what were you saying about Thurman?
They were talking about Thurman get away. People forget Thurman was winning that whole first round before the knockdown. You know what I mean? When you watch that, I just watched that fight again like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, Thurman was banging Pacquiao in the first round. Then Pacquiao was like, oh shit. He came up with that quick side. And this is Pacquiao's patent move that he hits on everybody. And this is what he drops you with. Floyd Mayweather. And then I went and watched some videos of last week of Floyd talking about Pac. And Floyd said he got this move that he do. And 2 weeks ago, I noticed it. Pac goes for the freaking jab. I mean, he goes from the right hand up top, the left. Again, he's going southpaw. Yeah, he's going from right up top, the left straight to the body. Drops the guard because the left is a strong hand. He comes with the right again up top. That's what he dropped Thurman with. It's a right, left to the body, right up top from a very an acute angle. From 33 degrees on outside of your freaking left foot. You feel me? And that's where he gets those battles with. All the time.
Are you sure that's 33 degrees? It might be 35.
Okay, 35, bro. So, but that's what he caught Thurman with. And Thurman got right back up. The only way, but Thurman, people don't watch that fight again. You notice Thurman was majorly successful and was every time when he had Pacquiao going backwards, when he was going forward and Pacquiao going backwards, is when Thurman dominated. You know what I mean? And don't forget, Thurman landed 69 more power punches in that fight than Pacquiao. Now, Pacquiao did land 100 more jabs, but Pacquiao ain't known for beating Bammers with that jab. He known for gunning Bammers down. So I was like, oh. So that's why my nod went to Thurman. But, or Dennis Ugas, if he's going to be tentative, like my man Terrell said earlier, which he can be, and walk in, but if he just walks in or if he's hesitant going in there and doesn't push forward and apply pressure to Pacquiao gonna be darting in and out like a damn mongoose, bro, and picking that dude apart. But Pacquiao will take breaks in the round because he did it against Thurman in that fight. And Pacquiao would take a minute and a half off of all those rounds. And Thurman was putting in major work. So 2 years later, let's see how his stamina is. If Dennis Ugas pushes the gas on this dude, we can maybe see an upset for real. You know what I'm saying? If he could make Pacquiao gas himself out. But again, you know what I mean? We have to wait and see.
How old is Ugas? How old is he?
35. He's about 35.
Something like that. Yeah.
35 yep, 35. So yeah, he's up there, man.
Okay, he's not a young man. We know that, and he's not an old man, and he's not necessarily old in boxing terms either. But I mean,
right? He's on that cusp. He's on that cusp.
42 is 42, and if you were to look at someone that was older in their career, Bernard Hopkins, until he got knocked the fuck out by Smith Jr. whatever, he was still viable. But like I said, we all know, like you said, Father Time is definitely undefeated, and we don't know when that clock will strike for Mr. Manny Pacquiao. Once again, I'll reiterate, I don't think it's going to be this fight. He's had pretty much a 2-year layoff. He's not beat up. His body's had time to heal up. He's motivated. He's mentally motivated for the fight. So, in that regard, I know Jay, you say you don't think he'll fight past this year in the event that he wins. I think he will. Because even if he wins, he'll get that belt back, and he would definitely be once again the man to beat at 147. With your people like Crawford, Porter, Thurman, people like that in line.
Now, right now, 100% Terrell. Now, here's where I think the Joker card is in this whole thing, Boxing Source, Mr. Terrell, Mr. Lazy Lefty. The thing is, right now, this has been an emotional letdown for Pacquiao and an emotional boost for your Dennis Ugas. That's the thing, right? This has been an emotional letdown for Pacquiao because he's not fighting Spence. but an emotional boost for your Dennis Ugas because he's fighting Manny Pacquiao. So the mindset of the two coming into this fight is what's going to be very interesting, which we're going to have to see if it plays out in their performance. Of course, you got to think. Oh, Dennis Ugas now and went balls ham like, oh shit, I'm fighting Pacquiao. You know what I mean? We got to see how that play out. That's another variable in this. You know what I mean? Because this could be, you know, like Pacquiao. I know watching the press conference, Pacquiao, he didn't sound too excited. And, you know, but I know beating Spence is fighting Spence is definitely something to drive him, but rather than Ugas, of course. So, I mean, that's going to be something to think about too. That's another thing to think about. I think that's very serious because it's 90% mental. So I ain't fighting Spence. Oh shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true that. Want to introduce another key contributor on here. Of course, he is known as the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, Mr. MVO Matthew Brown. What's going on, man?
Well, y'all gonna have to call me the Undertaker now. I just caught a body last night on the boxing versus. You already know what it is. But very interesting. Boxing United says it was an emotional letdown for Pacquiao. I think this is an emotional boost for Pacquiao because he was training his hardest for Spence, I'm assuming, and now he gets to fight someone not as good as Spence. Not as quick as Spence, not as strong as Spence, not as active as Spence. He was probably thinking, "Oh, I can actually win this fight." I don't.
They don't got the name of Spence though.
It don't matter. It don't matter if you training for a killer, and you end up with a little baby kitten. Shit, that's another day at the office.
But we all know, bro. Let's keep it 100. The names on your resume matters.
Yeah, the names on your resume matter, but Pacquiao, it doesn't matter for Pacquiao. Pacquiao is a made man. You know, he's already considered one of the 10 to 15 greatest fighters to ever lace up a pair of gloves. He has nothing left to prove. This was just going to be a coda to his career. So now his new motivation is, let me beat this guy ass who stole my belt, and then we're going to double back, and we're going to get that Spence fight. So that's his new motivation, you know, getting past this guy so he could get that Spence fight again. That's another payday. He's still getting his money that he was going to get before.
Yeah, but so he ain't getting as much, though. He might be thinking about that, too.
Yes,
Spence and Pac fight way more than
Ugas. Belt, though, bro. He didn't steal his belt. WBA took the belt from him.
He stole his belt. That belt
steal?
belongs to Manny Pacquiao.
Or Dennis Ugas has the power to steal it?
Yeah.
To make those moves?
Yeah.
Come on,
because they thought he was going to be the one to fight Spence. They thought he was going to be the one to fight Spence, so they lifted the belt from Pacquiao. Then when it looked like he was bullshitting around asking for 50-50, and Pacquiao came back into the picture, they tried to get the belt back. But the optics looked too bad, but it was like, nah, we can't give you the belt back. But Pacquiao should have never got that belt taken away from him in the first place. And now he's going to get it back.
That was the WBA who did that, though.
He shouldn't have got it taken away without them calling for that fight, without them mandating Ugas versus Pac. I'll put it, I agree with that part. But he was out here on some bullshit.
Yeah, but my thing was, if you're gonna make Pacquiao the champion of recess and you put in the reasons for it, then if he fights Errol Spence and that's unification, then that kind of like supersedes the whole thing with the mandatory. So you might as well just give him the belt anyway, and you get a higher percentage off that fight. But you're like, no, let me just keep the belt on Ugas. And if he would have still ended up fighting Fabian Maidana, how much money they would have gotten off of that fight?
That's a fact. But you know what's crazy? The WBA is so lucky that Pacquiao is such a classy fighter, because if it was me, I wouldn't pay the sanctioning fee. I'm like, the belt's not on the line for me. I don't care about your belt. Y'all took it away from me, fuck your belt. But he's so classy that he doesn't want to cause an uproar so close to the pay-per-view, so he's gonna fight the fight anyway for the belt. When he don't
he's a freaking senator. It wouldn't look good. It's not about class. It's also about and being a political figure for his country.
Yo, if it was up to his agent, he would be like, "Fuck the WBA."
Yeah, man.
So, but who are y'all? I know everybody talks about who they.
The WBA is the most powerful.
Who are y'all rooting? Do y'all have a rooting interest in this fight? Because I know with Spence and Pacquiao, I really didn't have. I was hoping Spence won, but I wouldn't have been, mad either way. But with this fight, I want to see Pacquiao win.
Listen, I can't stand Ugas. It is what it is. I can't stand them. I can't stand none of these MAGA.
Why you can't stand them, man?
I don't like these MAGA Cubans. It is what it
MAGA
is.
What do you mean by MAGA Cubans?
Listen, look it up. Look up the history. These MAGA Cubans, these Trumpites, these anti-black, respect your country kind of niggas.
Trump ain't
like
anti-black.
That. Yes, he is.
No, he's not. That's liberal propaganda. But we're gonna leave that going right there.
Propaganda. Listen.
Joe Biden is a Dixiecrat. You know what a Dixiecrat is?
Hold on.
Wait, before we go there, anybody here from New
Joe
York?
Joe Biden is a Dixiecrat. Do you know what a Dixiecrat? Any of you know what a Dixiecrat is? New York
that knew who Trump was before 2015 and grew up under him?
Exactly.
All of us knew who Trump was.
I knew who he was when he was in the U.S.
Okay, but you didn't know his dealings in the city. What about when he wasn't renting the black people? When he wasn't renting the blacks and Puerto Rican, what do you call that?
You think he was the only one?
So he's not the only one. It's okay. He's still part of it.
We're speaking of
blacks. Hey, I tell you, black guy. I know black men. Black men don't sell to blacks in Puerto Rico.
We ain't gonna go there, bro.
And we got a word for them too. We got a word for them too.
I don't work for black or Puerto Rican. I mean, a white person.
No, I said we got a word for them too.
Yeah, you call them capitalists.
Nah, all right. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. But I don't fuck with Ugas. That's the bottom line. I can't wait to see him get knocked out. It is what it is. I hope Pacquiao beat his ass.
What if he gets knocked out and then eventually he loses his wife?
Exactly, right? Well, his fiance. He ain't even married her yet. Because he's too busy cheating.
Married. Yeah, that's right.
Too busy cheating. Come on, man. This guy gonna be writing paragraphs on Instagram, on Twitter again about how he lost his hair, how he almost lost his fiance for cheating, how they try to take his belt. Everything is woe is me with this dude. But then when it comes to shit with black people, they protested. Oh, why are you protesting this great American country? You don't know what it's like in Cuba. Yeah, that's because Fidel Castro was fucking y'all niggas up and taking y'all slaves. And that's why y'all fled to America. That's why y'all fled to fucking America. Because they wouldn't let y'all keep y'all slaves. And he had his foot on y'all motherfucking necks. So don't bring that little MAGA Cuban shit here. Keep that shit in Florida.
He was one of them other Cubans. He wasn't
hey,
Castro Cuban.
Hey, my man, what regime ran Cuba before the Castro regime?
Bautista.
No, I didn't ask you. I was asking the guy down to the left.
But he already told you.
I don't think he knew that before, though. But okay, my man, at least know his shit up.
First of all, me and Lefty, like the guy who's on here, we talk about stuff like this often. So you don't know what we know.
Okay, so you know. Okay, so tell me about the Batista regime.
But like I said, this is a boxing show. It don't matter. If you ask me why I don't like.
But you brought up MAGA. You brought the
ask me why I don't like the nigga, and I'm telling you why I don't like the nigga. But you want to go in depth about the whole political history and shit. Like I
didn't ask you. You said I hate.
I hate that motherfucker.
Hey, he hates.
Yeah. He said MAGA Cubans.
Hold on, is everybody on here black?
Yes,
I'm black. Black.
Last time I checked.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right here out of Dodge City, DC. Me and Boxing Swords.
Yeah, but I'm a down south kid, man. I'm a Florida boy originally.
Wow.
You in DC, you're down south. We below the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah. So.
It's too bad our ancestors didn't have their Castro to put their.
We're being technical. I'm a historian, so yeah.
It's too bad we ain't have a Castro. Shit.
I know, right?
I fucked with Castro. I don't care what nobody say. Fuck what you heard.
Shout out to Major Key, man, checking in here, man. Salute to you, brother. Oh man.
You notice anytime one of them motherfuckers start cutting their heads off and throwing them over, they want to demonize them. But as long as you're in the street with your head down and begging them to help you for your freedom, they create you as a hero. But when you start cutting their necks off, that's when they want to make you a bad guy. But like Papa Doc, like Castro, like my man over there in Zimbabwe, taking white people land and giving it back to the people. That's when they make
back to the people.
That's when they make you an enemy when you get back at their ass. They want you to beg them for your freedom, which another man can never give you your freedom.
Sure.
You can't beg for it. You can only take it.
Yep. White people know that. That's why they storm the Capitol, because they know how to get their freedom while we out here in the streets begging the police not to beat our heads.
Walking over bridges.
We should have been right there storming the Capitol with them, right?
No. Hell no.
That's not our fight. See,
I'm talking about us in the street with our head down.
We can't quite put that out on public because this is still YouTube.
Man.
So
they show, get boxing source. You know what it really is? You know what it really is? That's our confusion. They showed that they wanted to go head with them and do that shit. We were saying, in the beginning, before I really knew exactly the MO, I was probably saying, yo, that's their shit. But they weren't going to get it because they was going at the powers that be who was running this shit, which are, people who are trying to turn this country, destabilize the country, turn it upside down.
They were going in there based off a lie. It wasn't just
white people there.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just white people there. Hold up.
Listen.
Well, I was there, bro. I saw this shit. I was there when it happened. Y'all saw it on TV. It wasn't just white people there.
Out of crack of business. You know when you don't see me storm the Capitol? I'm gonna storm the Capitol when we fighting for reparations.
It's impossible for you to stay out of crack people's business.
When we fighting for reparations, then I'm gonna storm the Capitol. I ain't storming the Capitol for no Republican or fucking Democrat.
Okay, well,
I'm storming the Capitol for my shit. Reparations.
To understand the deal, we'll get reparations back. We're going to, many black people have to be paying the reparations to us.
I don't give a fuck where it come from.
Okay, then what I'm saying, well, no, most people think with reparations, they think they're getting it from white America, the white man, the government, and all that. But be honest, in our history, if you deal with the states, many of the slave owners were black women. And also the Ashanti.
Not many.
Let me finish, bro. The Ashanti.
It wasn't exactly chattel slavery either.
No white man went in Africa. No white man went in Africa was taking out slaves without Africans giving the green light and selling them. So the start of the whole transatlantic slave trade, Africans was a part of that. And
bro, you are way off. First of all,
that's history, bro.
No.
Why do you think there's slave castles there?
Because you're missing a lot of context in there. They didn't know there were even slaves within Africa, slave to each other. They didn't know it was going to be chattel slavery.
They were prisoners of war.
Slavery was supposed to be indentured slavery. They didn't know they were selling people.
Dude, that indigenous. You just played indigenous. Where is it? Prisoners of war, indigenous. Africans sold black.
Mute him for a minute, because this dude talk a lot.
Black sold black. That's the bottom line.
Indentured servitude, where you were a slave for a
sold them though, right?
You had just like with the serfs and the.
They sell them though. No matter if they was indentured or not, they sold them to white people, right?
Because you're messing up a lot of context.
No, but they sold them
because you were able to buy your way out of slavery, or you also
sold them though.
Someone, yes,
they sold those indentured servants to Europeans, not right?
Yeah, and yes, they did.
Okay, then. Regardless, it's black selling black.
It's a big difference between chattel slavery and indentured servitude.
And I just want to talk about
the Ashanti and Nigerians sold
chattel slavery.
Fellow Africans to white people.
Servitude. This is a big
prisoners of war and indentured service into chattel slavery. It was still started with the blacks. They sold them.
It was a big difference.
Hold on.
No, they sold them.
It's a big difference between chattel slavery and indentured servitude.
It was the Africans that sold you into chattel slavery.
Okay.
Thank you.
They didn't know, but did they know they were selling them into chattel slavery? Or did they
it was the Africans that sold you into chattel slavery. Whether they knew it was or not, it don't matter. They sold you
into chattel slavery. No, they did not. They thought they were selling into indentured servitude, which was common during that time for all nations.
Ignorance is bliss, bro. Ignorance is bliss.
Both. All right, now check it. All right, y'all went back and forth about this whole indentured servitude and slavery and all of that. Whatever happened in Africa is one thing, right? But I'm going to tell y'all this. All that stuff wasn't just happening in Africa. This transatlantic slave trade, I'll tell you this, it isn't as big as some people think it is. Why? Because we were already here. So I'm going to just put it like that, you know?
Facts. Facts. That's the point I'm getting at. I'm not an African.
Yeah, as a lot of us are
I'm an American
here. So that
I'm Lisa Toppy.
Like all these so-called millions of Africans, nah.
There you go. We was already here in the book. There's many books to prove that.
Because ain't no motherfucking way they go be shipping millions and millions of people from from Africa.
And those small ass ships.
Fucking 1492 or some shit. Nah, they ain't.
Not 30 billion. My man, we right on point. We was already here. We've been here. That's been proven.
That's impossible. Absolutely impossible. All them people in North America and South America, we were already here.
Bro. And here's some resources for all of those. You can get the book by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, okay? Far as the blacks who rule the world, you can get Jack Forbes, the relationship between African and Native Americans, or should I say red and black peoples, we've been here, bro. We've been here. So, and that's the thing. That thing of us all coming from Africa, out of Africa theory, that's been pushed by white Jews, not by us. That was thrown on us.
All right, so now let's finally get back into this whole boxing thing, because I want to get on this thing here with Lefty, because I think this is something
that's about the only thing me and him will agree on. Because I've already
the other news over the past 48 hours is this scheduled bout that was supposed to happen on August 28th with David Benavidez and Jose Uzcategui. And David Benavidez.
This is awesome.
Is going to be delayed. It's going to be postponed because David Benavidez tested positive for COVID. And Lefty, I don't know if you posted it or somebody posted it, but it was a clip of Jerome Charlo. Oh no.
Telling him to get vaccinated?
Tell him to get vaccinated. I'm like, oh no. Like I'm waiting for Jamal Charlo to get all over this, but hey, I mean it is what it is. You're probably gonna have it happen. Let's see.
Probably gonna move it to September 18th.
Yeah, September 18th. Yep. It's gonna end up being September 18th.
Yeah, so, Benavidez is the new Mexican Independence Day star.
Yeah.
Peace to Major Key Boxing. He's in the chat. Peace to Major Key Boxing.
Matt leaked the news to Coppinger.
Because he had, like, of course, that particular card, they were really selling well as far as like that venue for Phoenix and all of that. Because you had David Benavidez, you had Jose Benavidez Jr. as part of the card. You had another, local guy that was going to be on there. That was also included. So it was going to be, it was going to be a pretty good turnout for all of them. But
who gives a fuck? If I'm PBC, no, seriously. If I'm PBC, this is my time to say, fuck you, Canelo. We're going to make Plant versus Benavidez.
Yes.
Hey, 100%. 100%. Fuck Canelo. There you go.
Yep.
This don't make no sense. Make Plant versus Benavidez.
Yeah, make Plant versus
Benavidez. Make that
Benavidez,
for September 18th.
Just be like, hey, you want to see how much food we got? All right, cool.
Exactly.
This is what we gonna do. We gonna have this happen. And you think you could go away or get away with having a fight against a freaking Dimitri Bivol or somebody like that? Go right ahead.
Yeah, and they could have this shit still in Phoenix. Give Uzcategui somebody else to fight. Let Uzcategui fight Morrell or something.
Yeah. He could fight.
This will be a treat for the. Listen, we deserve a treat. Okay, this has been a very rough summer for boxing fans. We deserve some. Throw us a fucking bone. Give us Benavidez versus Plant September 18th in Phoenix. Nobody has to worry about any refunds for tickets because I'm sure fans will be like, well, this is a bigger event, a better event. Put Uzcategui in the co-feature if you have to against one of your other 668 pounders and go from there.
Yeah, I'm like they could definitely do that, and it'd definitely be, a big fight for, everybody that's involved. And I mean, it's kind of like been thrown out there. Why not have Plant versus Benavidez happen right now? This is the time, like, you could go ahead and make this happen. And, you could just say, screw Canelo. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, if y'all was willing to put $50 million in the pot for Canelo versus Plant, 40 to Canelo, 10 to Plant guaranteed, y'all could take that 10 million, take 15 million, split it between Plant and Benavidez, and let's go.
Yep. But I don't see what would be the issue of them, not really doing that. I mean, you could have that, that be the main event. You could have Jose Benavidez and Francisco Torres is still part of that card. You could have Carlos Castro still part of that card.
Yeah, you got the whole card.
You could have that whole card there, and just say, Uzcategui, you could, fight, somebody else, maybe, or whatever it is, or, so.
Yeah, give him an interim WBA belt or something.
Yeah, so I'm like, they could still salvage, what they need there for September 18th, man. I don't see why not. And then if Canelo wants to fight in November, he could go right ahead.
Exactly. Fuck him. And I'm a Canelo fan, but he really fucked things up badly, and he really pissed me off because that whole 40 million for anybody shit, I wasn't rocking with that.
Like
the diva.
Like he can say, yeah, let me go ahead and fight Caleb Truax, and I'll still get my 40 million.
Exactly.
Canelo's on full diva status, bro.
Well, I mean, he deserves it. He's earned his
diva
place.
his ass out of a fight.
He's earned his place, but he overplayed
ain't
his
about
hand.
deserving things. You only good as your last fight. You only good as your last fight, bro.
And he knocked the motherfucker out. Yeah.
I thought he quit.
I thought
you said he quit.
You talking about Avdi Yildirim? Avdi Yildirim?
Nah.
I'm talking about Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh, you talking about Billy Joe? Oh, yeah. But no, he didn't knock him out. No, it was a medical stoppage.
Yeah, no, it was a I don't want no more stoppage.
It was a no more stoppage.
Exactly. Don't blame that on the doctor. He just ain't want no more.
All I know is the UK done looked horrible over the last year. Poor UK. All their potential, front runners done got smoked. Jeez. Josh Warrington. Everybody.
Crazy.
But peace out the kid Galahad, though.
Anthony Durrell was claiming that he's going to be ready for September 18th. So why not put Anthony Durrell against Uzcategui in the co-feature as a little revenge kind of thing?
Yep. We could do that.
That makes too much sense.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, we had Anthony on here, a couple weeks ago. He said that he would be ready for September 18th.
Yeah.
So, why not? Like, if you say that you're, ready to go, then just have it going up against this category and say, you know what? Let me go in there and get revenge for my brother, man.
This one's for Unc.
Yeah. That too. Oh man, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Oh man, but that's like mainly mostly everything that I've seen, man. I just don't want any more bad news to be coming through, man. Like,
more bad news is coming.
Oh shit. Well,
I'll talk to you about it off air because it can't be put in the public yet. But more bad news is coming.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's about a certain fight, then I'm gonna really be bummed out. But if it's about something bigger than that, then yeah, that'll be crazy. That'll definitely be crazy.
You talking about from that's shit from earlier, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it ain't that bad. It's bad, but it ain't that. It's bad. It ain't that bad.
Well, it's bad for me.
Oh yeah, it's bad for you.
Oh man. So then, yeah, I kind of have a feeling of what it is, man. But man, but that's pretty much what I got here for the midweek report, man. I'm just, I guess we could watch all of these fights that are coming up on Saturday.
You ain't got no prediction for this weekend, Rigo?
Hold up, hey yo,
that's your boy, right?
Yo, since we got more guys on the panel, Boxing Source again. Let me re-bring up the question earlier. Is this the card that broke boxing's back, man? Because we all been deflated over what we've been having to deal with over the years. This something to really get the fans in an uproar, like, yo, give us some real ass fights, or it's just UFC from now freaking on.
What
I don't
are you
know.
talking about?
We gotta hold it to the spot.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about, is this the card that broke, boxing's back? Meaning, of course,
this cancellation, the Spence cancellation.
Yeah, and then we have the Wilder and Fury. And then we have it hurts, bro. It's undeflated. If you go to hold on, let me finish the premise though. If you go through the boxing world, if you go through channel to channel and look at the comments and everything, Cass is dejected, man. Cass is like, oh, what else can hit boxing over the head? So I think this is we're in a good position to bring up or try to push some of the fights we want. And that's what we need to do, really ask the fans of the sport. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, listen,
like what fights that you push that you want? What fights that you want that you were willing to push?
Real talk. All unification.
Nah, I'm good.
Listen, definitely unifications, because undisputed trumps everything. I want everybody to be unified.
No, nobody. Listen, I don't give a damn about belts. I don't even be knowing what belts are on the line half the time. What I care about is big events. That's it. Events. Give me Gervonta Tank Davis versus
right. So you're more of a casual boxer.
No, I'm not a casual because I watch all this. I go to events, but I don't care about these dudes. I watch all
the fights, but what would generate the big events is unification matches.
Look at Jamel versus Stein. Nobody gave a fuck about that outside of boxing fans. Big events, big personalities do big events.
That Charlo Castaño fight, that was for the undisputed.
And nobody gave a fuck.
Nobody gave a fuck about that outside of boxing.
But that's the whole case for boxing now. But boxing needs to build momentum. You have to build momentum first before you get people to start recognizing all of that. And my thing is, boxing had a long record over the few years, which I've been covering it heavy, that they haven't been giving the fans the fights that they want. So you got to do something somewhere, dude. What do you mean? UFC? That's how UFC got as popular, because they gave the fans what they wanted.
UFC got it popular by monopolizing the market. That's how they got popular.
What?
Like my man, who's my man that just won on that Showtime card? I don't follow it, but I kind of see it on the peripheral. He just won, and I heard Dana White telling him, well, if he won, now some people are saying he's the best at whatever weight class he's at. And Dana White is telling him, well, if he wants to fight my best fighter, he has to sign the UFC. UFC does the same thing boxing. They was just good at cornering the market, like when they bought Strike Force and they bought up all the competition.
That's what PBC has done for in many cases, in particular weight classes. If you're talking about the welterweight division.
Yeah, I think it's better if one promotion controls a weight division. I think that's a lot better than when they're on two sides of the street, because we already know how the shit goes. You know what I'm saying?
When one organization controls a whole division, that's when you see the unification undisputed.
Yeah, I love it when I like it like that. Like I want guys to consider where they sign, who got the most smoke, and sign with that person, because I want to see them fight.
No, I don't want to. I want the promotions to work with each other. But that's probably not going to happen. We need to have the biggest fight. What I'm saying is, I don't care who the promotion or all that. I want undisputed. I want unification matches. That's what the fans want to see.
But don't you understand that a UFC champion is not an undisputed champion because UFC only works within the UFC? Do you not understand that? It's the same shit as boxing.
It's the biggest brand in MMA fighting, is what we understand, and it has been for since 1990, since 1994.
Whoa. Wait, who's talking?
Say what? I don't know. I don't watch much UFC. I don't know.
That's Boxing Logic. BC. All right, Boxing Logic. Let me ask you a question, right? Are you sure that the UFC heavyweight champion is the best champion out there?
I didn't say the UFC heavyweight champion. What do you mean? Am I sure he's a heavyweight? I said there's
no.
What are you talking about? Somebody was just saying UFC cornered the market. I was going off the point that UFC said UFC's cornered the market. They're big. I like, yes, because they're the biggest leading middleweight. I mean, sorry, not middleweight, but mixed martial arts company promotion of the last probably close to since 1994.
Listen,
but you said you like
X1 over everybody.
You like unification, all of it. You like unifications for what reason?
Unifications because we got too many guys with too many belts. Boxing needs one champion.
Okay.
So you need undisputed champions.
But MMA
undisputed
champions. The same thing.
Unless their personnel, unless they're that big, in every division, you're not going to have a Floyd Mayweather. There's no Floyd Mayweather in every division. There's really no Floyd Mayweather ever now. Floyd Mayweather just came back and flexed to show he's still the biggest draw in boxing.
You don't see how
along with a big name. So what I'm saying is you need a big name. We don't have big names. You could create big names by one fighter galvanizing all the belts. Okay?
Not really.
And putting the best fighters against each other and making it go like that.
Boxing.
I mean, you can name the over the past 20 years you can name the 5 biggest boxers, and so I don't think any of them been undisputed.
None of them.
Oscar De La Hoya, Mike Tyson.
I said unless you have a big name. Yeah, I said unless you have a big.
But I'm saying they had to get to that point. They had to get to that point to be a big name, and they didn't. Unification didn't get them that big name.
De La Hoya had a gold medal, so he was a golden boy coming in.
De La Hoya he had a gold medal. What about Floyd? Floyd, they didn't think he could sell.
Floyd Mayweather got robbed of the gold medal.
Yeah, but they didn't. I'm saying Top Rank didn't think he could sell. They didn't think he could get any.
No, that's just cheap ass Bob Arum being cheap.
I know, but I'm saying Floyd got to that level without. He got from the level of where he was just like a boxing star to a superstar without never having undisputed.
Yeah, but he was that good.
Yeah, he was that good. That's what I'm saying. I think what everybody's trying to say is not really so much the undisputed.
But my point is, boxing back then, boxing was more healthier in a state of money and grossing. It's not now. So
boxing has never been healthier.
So it needs some solidarity at each weight division. It needs solidarity at each weight division. You need one sole champion to be the best to go ahead and provide that. And
there's never been a time in boxing when there's been one champion.
Boxing needs undisputed. Because if you did that undisputed, you got people going back and forth. Who's the best? Who's the best? Who's the best? And then the fans, overall, the casual fans are confused.
But let's say if Crawford and Spence fought tomorrow, would the best be determined who was the best? If they fought tomorrow, will we all?
Boxing needs undisputed.
Would the consensus be that the winner Crawford Spence is the best?
Crawford never comes out of the top 1, 2, or 3 of the pound for pound rankings. You know why? Because he was undisputed. It don't matter where you go, any list. Crawford is going to be 1 or 2 of Canelo.
We all know if Crawford and Spence fought tomorrow, the consensus would be the winner would be the top fighter.
Crawford is arguably undisputed right now without Spence. That's what I'm saying, dude.
You would have Pacquiao or Ugas with a belt, so the winner wouldn't be undisputed.
Crawford don't need Spence to be undisputed. Crawford don't need Spence to be pound for pound. He was already pound for pound before he ever fought Spence.
You're all over the place.
No, I'm not.
All over the place.
Crawford was pound for pound before he beat ever. Crawford's pound for pound already.
You're talking about
boxing source. Boxing source. Is Crawford pound for pound arguably #1 pound for pound fighter in the world right now? And he's never fought Spence.
hold on a second. The thing I was going to bring up in reference to pound for pound is like the pound for pound list has been in existence for almost forever, right?
Sugar Ray Robinson.
But in reference to the recent pound for pound list over the past 5 to 10 years, those that have been amongst the top 5 in the pound for pound list rarely have been an undisputed champion. Rarely.
Yeah.
So the thing about being undisputed champion. So the thing about being undisputed now is a rare occasion. Like we've only had about 3 or 4 guys that have said that they've been undisputed champions over the past 10 to 15 years. Alexander Usyk, Crawford, Hopkins, and then who else?
Taylor. Hopkins still that. And Hopkins come from the era before him.
Taylor, Lennox Lewis,
Josh Taylor. So
no, Jermaine Taylor.
Oh, Jermaine Taylor, yeah. When he beat Hopkins there. But in this like current era, you really haven't had that many undisputed champions because it's so tough to even get to that point to have an undisputed championship fight. So
it's politics and money.
So being undisputed is like one thing, but as far as like the sport of boxing being so fragmented, it's almost nearly impossible to get like an undisputed champion in every division. It's like nearly impossible.
Well, hold up. Nobody said every division, but we talking about we need to start off with the money divisions: 135, welterweight, heavyweight. Nobody said every division because a lot of these divisions are new, as you and I know, Boxing Source. Okay, it's a lot more divisions now than they were back in the day of Sugar Ray Robinson. 154. Okay, when you're dealing with 140, the ones in the middle, when you see a junior or a light middleweight or a junior welterweight or super middleweight, that means that's been added on. If you deal with just the main ones where they started off with, that's what they had back then. But so I'm just talking about the main money divisions. The main money divisions has always been 135, 147, heavyweight, and now later on 160 if you're talking about Roy Jones Jr. bringing that up and other fighters who made that. But those are the main 3 to 4. Now we need the most visible fighters in history has been in those divisions. We know this. And that's why those divisions need one. Because boxing need their money divisions to have solidarity every that's a champion. And then so what? Everybody build up, the stables build up their people. They have to go to one place to say, okay, to be called a champion, I got to go through that person. There's no more running around, no more all this stuff. It's solidarity. It's one champion, world, and that's it. And everybody got to go for that. That means that cut out a lot of the politics in some sense. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Because everybody then now, you can say, now it's less collusion or confusion at the pound for pound list because you have undisputeds up there.
Bro, okay? Nobody cares about this shit, dog. Nobody cares about this
because
shit.
You're not a real boxing fan, bro.
No, I'm not a real boxing fan. I'm the first motherfucker to admit it. Nigga, you're not about to trap me with that shit. No, I'm not a real boxing fan. I enjoy what I enjoy. I enjoy the fighters that I enjoy watching. Right. I don't watch a bunch of bullshit. Nigga, I don't watch.
Casual fans don't care about that shit. I get you.
I don't watch the motherfucking Toronto Argonauts. That don't mean I'm not a real football fan. I like my teams just like I like my boxers. You want he made a statement. He made a statement which you still that you went everywhere around and you still ain't answered my man's question about the UFC.
First of all, he probably made a statement while I was speaking, so I didn't hear it.
No,
we need undisputed.
Straight up.
Undisputed trumps every. What was the question?
No, hey, is Matt? Are you still on here, Matt?
No, Matt's still on here, but
I stopped listening to this shit a while ago, man. Because this dude took a long winding road to not answer shit. Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, I go straight to the point. You guys are all over the place. I know boxing more than both of you two. That's the thing. So when you dealing with, when you got a pure, when the diehard is talking to two casuals, that's what happens.
Let's stop
when the diehard is talking to two casuals, that's what happens.
What I like, nigga. You ain't gonna shame me into liking some bullshit.
I'm not shaming you. I'm just telling you what it is.
Okay, yeah, I'm a casual. I like what I like. I don't shit I consider bullshit. I'm not gonna watch, and I'm not ashamed of that. So this little you're not a real boxer. So
I'm telling you what's healthy for boxing. A casual don't care what's healthy for boxing.
I know exactly what I like.
A person who follows the sport knows what's healthy for boxing more than a casual.
And
a person who actually follows the sport knows what's healthy for boxing better than a casual.
Listen, only thing I know is that I've been to a lot of boxing events. I've covered boxing events. I bought a lot of pay-per-views. If that makes me a casual, then I'm a fucking casual. But undisputed don't mean shit. Undisputed don't mean shit. I care about big events. The best thing for boxing is to have the biggest events.
The more belts involved makes the event bigger. The more belts involved makes the event bigger in many cases. Not in all cases, but in most cases. It's always been that way. It won't change.
Okay. Who's the biggest star in boxing?
What?
Who's the biggest star in boxing?
Floyd Mayweather. And when you see him, and the thing is, when you see Floyd Mayweather come to the ring, or Canelo Alvarez come to the ring, how many belts are they holding up to give the impression that they have all the belts? When Floyd Mayweather comes in the ring, you see his guys holding up 3 or 4 or 5 belts. When Canelo Alvarez comes into the ring, you see his whole team holding up 3, 4, or 5 belts. What's that to do? Give you the illusion they are undisputed. Come on, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I understand. That's why I ain't mad at you. It's logic. Because perception is everything. Perception is everything.
That's not the biggest stars are the biggest stars. If boxing knew how,
and they hold multiple belts.
No, if boxing knew what it was that makes people attached to these fighters, they would have a million big stars. But there is no secret sauce. Some people gravitate towards to. Some people they just don't fuck with. It is what it is.
Yes, it is.
Well, my thing is this, though.
That's your logic,
right? My thing is this. When we talk about the big stars in the sport of boxing, whether it's current or recent, that's been going on, right? We talk about the Floyd Mayweathers, the Manny Pacquiaos, the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Canelo Alvarezes. I'm going to just go with those 4. Did any of them be the undisputed champion in any weight class that they've been in?
No. Okay. But here's the thing. Don't you see all of them? All of them, as the point I made before, have their team carrying how many belts and putting all the belts around them at the end of a match to make it look like they're more illustrious than they are. So even if they're not undisputed, they're trying to make themselves look that way. It's perception.
My
point is, none of these stars today are as big as them. None of these stars today are as big as them, so they need to get the belts to gain the validation that they can be or will be as big as them. So you got to go down the hard road and gain those fucking belts. And that's why Terrence Bud Crawford is considered always in every list, top 1, 2, or 3 pound for pound in the world. It's undisputed logic and facts.
He's not one of the biggest guys in the sport. Why can't you answer that question? You keep talking about pound for pound.
He is one of the biggest guys in the sport.
About commercial viability. Why is he not the biggest guy in the sport if undisputed matters?
Easy because of who? It's easy. You don't follow boxing because of Bob Arum. Don't invest no more.
So
everybody knows that. Boxing Source knows that. Look at all the guys who left. Boxing Source. Tell them all the guys who left, who's in the same predicament as Crawford and all that left. All the heavyweights became superstars now. Please run down the list.
According to you, if the fans see him with all the belts, they'll know he's undisputed and they want to buy his fights.
Hey, bro. Boxing Source, run the list down for them.
According to you, they just want to see all the belts. Look at that.
Boxing Source.
He must be undisputed. Let me follow him.
Boxing Source.
Nobody
run the list down to them. It's Floyd Mayweather. It's Mikey Garcia, Oscar De La Hoya, and so on. The biggest names today are the same ones who left Bob Arum. You think that's a coincidence? Come on, bro.
What does that have to do?
Why did they all leave him? Why did they all leave him? Because he didn't pay.
But you're saying undisputed is what draws the fans.
I said that's what's needed now to create validity of one superstar because
But
boxing is
Crawford
in a
was
fallen state
undisputed.
right now, and
It
it
did
needs it.
not
You're not
make him
listening
a
to the whole joint.
superstar. He can't
Here's the
sell
thing,
pay-per-view.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Byron, and I kind of like said this, and I kind of said this before. It's extremely difficult for these divisions to come together in order to make an undisputed fight.
We understand that. We understand it's extremely difficult, but it's not impossible because it's not impossible because we have fighter in a recent era that's done it. We have two. So John Seller has done it, right?
Yeah, but here's the other thing that you said.
Okay, so it's not impossible.
So guys too,
come on now,
right? When you talk about these guys that have these belts, whether they're undisputed or not, these guys, the many that we've mentioned, were multi-division world champions. One, and then two, in many
and when
of
you
those
finish,
cases,
I want to jump in.
Okay, and then I'm gonna add another person in. And in many of those cases, these guys defeated the top fighters that were in that particular division. They didn't necessarily have to be the undisputed champion. All they had to do was be rated as a top fighter in the division. Because, like I've said, it's very rare to even have an undisputed champion. And it's going to still be that same way a long time from now. So when we talk about guys that are going to be potentially the future of the sport,
we still have them today. We still got them.
Or Tank Davis's. They're at where they're at right now, not because they're undisputed champions, but they have people behind them that have built them and promoted them to the level to where they can have eyes.
I agree with that.
Right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. But still, you have undisputed champions today, right?
Yeah,
we've had 3 undisputed champions in the last 3 years, right?
Why they not the biggest
stars? Of course, we can say it's impossible, but it is happening. And because Josh Taylor getting all the accolades, because
can I go back? Can I go back to his point?
Terrence Crawford got all the accolades because he was undisputed.
Let's go ahead, and then I'll add Mike.
Mike's
about to come in.
Okay. To that point that you were making, that the fighters want to see you always see the fighters come to the ring with the belt because they want everybody to know they're the champions.
Multiple belts. You're talking about the big name.
Yeah, this is the WBC rules, section 2.5. And the reason I know this because it was a situation that came up once before where I had to research this. And I know every single sanctioning body has this rule. A WBC champion must bring and wear or have prominently displayed his championship belt when he enters the ring for every defense of his title. That's why you see them carrying a belt and everybody is showing it. Because it's a rule that every sanctioning org has for their champion.
And the WBC tries their best and
they need money. They want their market for their
money.
Yeah, it's not because everybody want to see, hey, I'm the champion. It's not the excuse the reason that you gave for it. That's why you see everybody holding the belt up and it's prominent to display like that because they must do it or they get fined. If you remember back when WBC first started back in 2015 when they weren't showing the belts, the WBC was going to find their fighters. That's how I knew of that rule, and that's why fighters display it.
Hey, Mike's in there. He had something to add in.
What's going on, guys?
Brady, what's good, man?
Peace, brother.
Doing well. So I don't know exactly what you guys are talking about, but I did hear one point. And the guys who unified at 140, that crop of guys aren't that good to me. So the reason why we seeing so many people unify at 140 because you got Julius Sandungo who got 2 belts at 140, and we all know he ain't that good. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, when Crawford was good until Crawford wiped through him. The guys at 140 now ain't that good.
Then he was the best at 140 to me. Once he beat Postal, we knew it wasn't nobody better at 140. Him beating Ndongo after that, that didn't. I already knew he was the best at 140.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, there wasn't like really much else that Crawford could do after he defeated Postal because Postal was kind of like regarded as the guy that was kind of like the top guy remaining left out of 140 after most of the guys that were at 140 moved up in 147. So,
but is Postal really that good though?
Yeah, Postal. That was a solid win. That was a good ass win. In hindsight, look at the way Postal. Look at the way he's handled. He fought Taylor, and look at the way he fought. He was coming off a stoppage of Matisse. And look at the way Taylor has fought him, and look at the way Josh and Ramirez. Taylor was a good, and Bud got him quality when he was still quality. So yeah, Taylor is Postal is a very damn good win. I don't know why people try to downplay.
What about? Hold up. So Gamboa wasn't good. He was undefeated.
Gamboa was a solid win. Yeah.
Okay. Gold medal. Gamboa was busting ass before that.
No, I'm no. Well, you don't know me because you be on YouTube, I be on Twitter. But I'm one of the ones that always talk about how people don't give Crawford his credit for beating gold medal winners, but they want to give everybody else credit for beating gold medal winners. Crawford and AJ have like the two most gold medal wins in professional boxing.
Yeah, facts.
Can Postal beat Chris Algieri?
Yeah.
I'm serious. Can he?
Yeah.
You sure?
I think he can. Yes.
Bro, that Postal win over Matisse was a good win. Stopped him.
You mean shot him?
Which Danny didn't even do, remember?
Yeah, Danny didn't stop him. Yeah, Danny wasn't able to stop him. He won, but he wasn't able to stop Matisse. The thing with Danny beating Matisse at that time was that a whole lot of people, a bunch of people were picking Matisse to win that fight.
Yep. They said Danny was. I remember people saying Danny was scared of him after Matisse knocked out
after Matisse beat Peterson. That's what they were saying.
Danny would never fight him. Danny scared of him.
Okay, but hey, let's keep in fact. I mean, each loss a fighter gets, his confidence goes down. And his fight versus Danny was a very, very tough fight. So it's fair to say that Victor Postal didn't fight as I guess game ready Matisse as Danny Garcia did. That's very fair to say.
Matisse was coming off that Probotnikov win, right?
Yeah.
Before. Okay. Yeah.
I think in multiple wins needed to really get a fighter's confidence back. That same thing happened to same thing happened to Miguel Cotto. I think he was rushed too fast into the Pacquiao fight, and that's why his father wasn't coaching him after that. After he took the loss to Margarito. His father was like, no, we need it. But he left his father, went to Freddie Roach, had a one win, and then boom, thrown in there with with Pacquiao before I think he psychologically had fully recovered. That's something serious with boxers. You got to catch, you catch a fighter who's won quite a few, his confidence level is at its optimum. And then when you catch a fighter like that, it's hard to beat that fighter because their willpower is stronger. But if you catch them on and off, win, loss, they're iffy. It's different from somebody who boxes.
You got to take a Pacquiao fight regardless, even because that money ain't gonna be there all the time.
No, I agree with you 100%. Remember, Pacquiao was moving up, and that's when, of course, he was with Ariza, and we got Powder. Powder Pacquiao was unbeatable.
So somebody made a point that I thought was a good point, which is what I was trying to say about Matisse. You said he fought Probotnikov. At that point, Matisse, to me, was shot worn. And so I'm not taking away from people's wins because any win over Matisse at that point is a good win. I agree with you guys on Postal in that respect, but Matisse was shot worn after that fight. That fight took a lot out of him. Even though he won, he showed me a lot of stuff, but Tim Bradley wasn't even the same. He was different.
Hold on. Tim Bradley beat Marquez after Probotnikov.
It was a different type of fight.
That was a great win.
It was a different type of fight, though.
Probotnikov took more out of Tim Bradley than he did out of Matisse. Tim Bradley almost had to stop. He said he almost had to pull out of the Marquez fight.
I mean, I think we're saying the same thing in that Probotnikov take stuff out of people if you fight him that way.
Yeah, but I thought you said. I thought you were saying like Tim Bradley. No, he was never the same, but he came off of that fight with a great win against Marquez. His best win in my opinion.
So Pacquiao Bradley 1 and Pacquiao Bradley 2 and 3. Like obviously talent told over time, but the Pacquiao that we saw the Bradley that we saw in Pacquiao 1 was a totally different Bradley. Yes, he tried to fight different. Yes, he wanted to win fans, but even just his ability to respond, he was a different fighter. Like the fight with Marquez was just a totally different fight. He was faster than Marquez. It was like the same attributes as Floyd, minus the skill. But you get what I'm saying.
in between that Pac fight, you can't forget when Jesse Vargas caught him too.
Yeah.
What's he say?
Bradley.
No,
You remember when
Bradley.
Jesse Vargas caught him like the last 15, 20 seconds of that fight?
Oh, they had it. Was that a tie? Or he won. He won most of all the rounds in the last
No,
fight.
Bradley won, but they had the referee thought the bell had been
jumped in
10 seconds early and jumped in.
And Vargas thought he had won. He thought the ref was waving it off.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yep. What happened to Provodnikov? I mean, I'm sure he pissing blood still, but like
he a politician in Serbia.
Oh, okay.
I know he was giving fucking. He hurt your boy Bradley. I watched that fight. It's funny y'all bring that up, and I watched that fight last week. He was giving Bradley that business. I mean, Bradley was doing what he can, banging out. But I was like, I thought it was 2 times in the fight. We all thought if you watch that fight that he was about to put Bradley down. I think he did put Bradley down once, but I thought he was about. It seemed like he was about to drop Bradley up. Bradley showed a lot. I mean, Timothy Bradley showed a lot of heart in that fight because there was a lot of times he could have went down, and he stayed up by the hair of his chin. Yeah. Oh, it was last. Yeah, he got hurt multiple times in that fight. I was like, damn. That was a war. Crazy. That was a hell of a.
I think the last round he went down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely went down. The crazy thing is that even though Provodnikov's punches obviously were more effective, Bradley took a lot out of Provodnikov too now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bradley should have never tried to fight that. I don't know why he tried to go in there and prove to people that he was something that he ain't.
Yeah, that was not smart. You can't listen to. I mean, I'm a fan, but you can't listen to fans.
Nah, hell no. You listen to me, nigga, you gonna be in a brawl every single time.
I'm trying to tell you.
Well, he's a fighter. He's a fighter. He wanted to show people he could beat him at his own game. But a lot of people thought. So did y'all think Bradley should have lost that fight?
No, I think he pulled it out.
You think he pulled it out? Then hey, man, it was a hell of a fight.
Hey, y'all ain't gonna talk about Rigo?
Man, I got Rigo winning, man. Like, yo, like this is it.
Ain't that y'all? I thought this was the Rigo show.
Man,
nah,
this
Rigo
needs
all the talk.
You said Rigo get what?
Rigo needs all the talk and play because he deserves it, man. And I'm proud of seeing him getting screwed by the business.
I mean, he just need to break somebody else's jaw. He be all right, you know, just break somebody else's jaw. I used to call him jaw breaker.
He's been one of the most abused boxers his career.
Yeah.
He signed with the politics. Yeah, you gotta be smart when you sign with, man. That's why I be saying these boxers, they gotta be smart when they sign with a person. Don't just go. Well, I can't say it because I'm not in a position, but a lot of times you can't go with the most upfront money. You gotta look at the long term.
Yeah, look at
don't box yourself out.
Yeah,
facts.
You know, everybody got their own situation, so I can't tell them don't go for the money.
Yeah, I mean, I had my guy Adrian Clark talk about that, like how these contracts be working out for, just starting out, and that's why like a lot of these fighters end up getting stuck in these bad contracts, including a lot of the more notable fighters that we know today, like Canelo and Crawford. Terrence Crawford was in one. Boots Ennis was in one too. So it's crazy out there sometimes, but it's like they once they start out as a pro, they want to get the best, try to get their name in the door, and they'll just pretty much try to sign anything just to get a quick buck, especially if you don't really get that much money to begin with. So it's like, let me just get where I could get either the most cash or cash the fastest way possible. You know what I'm saying?
So who would we say
even on that
the best promoter?
Even on that note, look at Teofimo Lopez. A few months ago, he re-upped with Chopper 3 years. So it sounds good for right now, but let's look at 2 or 3 years down the line. I tell you what, we're gonna be waiting for him to get out of that contract, just like we were waiting for Crawford guys' contract for Top Rank. So like it sounds good right now.
Teofimo right now is. Yeah, good luck for Teofimo right now, because he might end up saying, you know what, this IBF belt, yeah, I don't need it. He gonna end up dropping that motherfucker. Mike, you was gonna say something?
Yeah, like I was just following up with y'all point. Who would we say is the best promoter for a young fighter? And the thing is, I feel like you got to put race on it, unfortunately. Because a young white fighter, that's a different question than a young black fighter and a young Hispanic fighter. I think those are three different questions. But who would we say, generally speaking, is the best promoter for a young fighter to go to? And why?
It depends. Like I said, it depends on what you mean to become like a Floyd Mayweather.
Well, to have the best outcome, we were talking about.
Go where the smoke at. And you know what? It's not so much as a bet. Another thing that you got to have a good manager. You got to have like a look like Jay Prince. Look at Jay Prince. He's Shakur Stevenson manager. Look at all the primetime slots Shakur Stevenson gets. You got to have a good manager on top of just because each manager has to lobby the promoter for your position in the company.
Yeah, it's who got the connections.
Yeah, look at the David McWater and
David McWater.
Yeah, you got to have a really good manager too that knows how to move your career.
Yeah,
I think that's just as important as your promoter. Look at motherfucking what's the one dude name who fight every other month? Sebastian Fundora. He on cards every other month.
Yeah, Fundora was on some, Navarrete. You had the whole thing where it was on, every other month. So you get those positions where you are very active and they put you in, either you have
Jay Prince got
and you have a good matchmaker too.
Jay Prince got the other Jared Anderson, right? Is FA with him too?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so you got to have a good manager too to get you in them spots.
That's why he got Anderson over in Houston right now. He moved from Toledo over to Houston.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna sign with Top Rank, at least get Jay Prince as your manager. And if you're gonna sign with PBC, get DeCubas as your manager. That's the way I look at it.
What, Louis DeCubas?
Yeah, get him as your manager because most of his fighters at PBC are the ones that get the the best fights.
Word, true. But
hey, Boxing Source, I'm checking out with the Lazy Lefty and Matthew Brown. Peace to you fellas, man. Good to chop it up and get some good some boxing banter in and all that shit. To Mr. Terrell, peace to you.
Casuals.
And Mr. NG. Yeah, y'all ain't casuals, man. I'm giving y'all shit. Y'all was fun though. Hey, Boxing Source, I'm checking out, champ.
All right, no doubt, champ, man. Good having you on here, man. It's been a good minute, yo.
No doubt, man. Gotta get messy and salty. Gotta give us some fun, some fun listening to the people listening to us. Y'all be easy, brothers. Y'all be easy. For sure.
Take it easy, brother.
I mean, actually, I should say go hard or whatever you do in life, man. Peace and prosperity. One love.
All right.
Peace and pugilism, man. Yo.
Peace and pugilism, baby.
Yeah, so I'm about to wrap it up too. It's been like over 2 hours, and I gotta at least get something to eat. I know that Lefty and cook him something up, and I know that Chef Terrell.
You heard me cooking.
Yeah, I know Chef Terrell done made a whole nother dish that he's about to post on Instagram here in a few minutes. So I know that's what he's been doing while he's on mute.
Hey, follow me on Twitter at Lazy Lefty. I got something special Friday at 3:00.
All right, Friday at 3:00, man. And Terrell, man, of course, he got chased by Terrell. So y'all want to see like all the dishes that he be making? But I hear some cooking right now.
Definitely.
There's some cook right now. So y'all go ahead and follow them. Of course, follow MVO. Most definitely Matthew Brown there on Twitter. And on Instagram, Most Valid Opinion, and he has the podcast there that he's one of the hosts, Most Valid Opinion. And we are the Boxing Source here. We got podcasts are available on iTunes as we try to be live on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. But of course, over the past couple of weekends, I've been a little bit busy, so to speak. So we had to push it back to Monday. So, but we're gonna see if we can get right back at it this Sunday, as we're gonna be going over all that action that's been going down. Of course, Rigo Casimiro, you had Virgil Ortiz Jr., of course, going up against Kavaliauskas this weekend too. And a couple of other fights that are going on that I know that that Matt doesn't necessarily care about, but really wanted to look at Casimiro versus Rigondeaux, Gary Antonio Russell against Emmanuel Rodriguez, and Virgil Ortiz Jr. against Gidicis Kavaliauskas. We're going to be mainly focusing on those particular fights and analyzing those fights on Sunday. So y'all definitely check that out here live. It's going to be live on YouTube at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then it's going to be available on demand through iTunes. But thanks to everybody that has joined in this particular midweek report that went through a tangent, a whole different tangent in the middle of the show. But it's all banner and whatnot. So thank everybody for joining in and being part of this. And I will catch y'all next time, man. I'm out. Peace.